everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I know you're viewing at comfort of your home where it's warm, but we are here for you to see and experience Zurich. First time ever that we're going to have a virtual tour of Zurich in the winter during the snow. So hopefully that you're warm and you're fuzzy all over there at home, and I hope you get to experience the fullness of Zurich. We're going to hopefully share the highlights of crash landing on you. We're going to share the highlights of what you should do in Zurich when you're here. And at the same time, we won't be able to do that without the help of our dearest guide today, which is Barbara, or you can call her Baba. So, Baba, please do take us around Zurich. The
Yes.
floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you. Just for let you know, I was born here. I still live here, and of course, this is the most beautiful city in the world, at least for me. It's the biggest town in Switzerland, and it's my hometown. And let's go first towards our main river called Limmat, because the Limmat is one of the best spots, especially in summertime. Let's go. Okay, what you can see behind me is that river I was telling you. It's called Limmat, and the Limmat is the main river here in Zurich. We have a smaller one called Seal, but Limmat you could even explore by a small boat in summertime, or what's even more fantastic, you could take a swim here. Of course, nobody goes swimming right now, but in summertime, this is the place to be. We go a little bit further and I introduce you to the old city. That's one of the highlights here in Zurich. And have a look at the water. It's so clean, so you can really experience the river with swimming, and there's a lot of fantastic events along that river, and even a nice swimming competition, especially if you don't feel afraid being a little bit in a cold river. 6th of December, there is the Santa Claus swimming. So people dress up very funny as Santa Clauses, and they jump into the very cold water. Sometimes only 5 degrees. Imagine. I wouldn't do that, by the way. Okay, if you have a look at the left hand side, you see beautiful old houses. This is part of our old city, but on both sides. Also on the right hand side, this is the old city. So the river is dividing the old city into left hand side and right hand side. And old in Zurich means most of the houses are 500, 600, 700 years old. Incredible, isn't it? And then, of course, there's a lot of places where you can do your shopping. Oh, we didn't mention that we started at the Heimatwerk, that beautiful building on my left hand side where we just started our tour. And I think this is an important spot for all the fans, isn't it? And then have a look. This is all with cobblestones. Now imagine people here going out to the opera or to the theater. They walk those cobblestones even with high heels. For being honest, I'm not doing it. But a lot of people do it. And the most important one that is doing that is Tina Turner. You probably know that singer, and she lives here close to Zurich City. and she is a fan of the theater and, of course, of the musical. We have so much culture here. You have to explore that as well. Now I'm going to shut up a little bit. You just have a look at the beautiful view because we have to go up a hill. And probably if I'm talking and climbing, that's not really nice to listen to me. Look at that beautiful, beautiful square. For the history, very important. But at the moment, all in white, and during summertime, a green oasis in the middle of the city. Place where you can play chess, place where you also can do bocce ball, and of course, a very romantic place. And you have always a lot of people eating lunch up here. So it's the spot to be in the middle of the city. It's called Lindenhof. Linden, that's the name of the tree. And we have more than 55 trees here, so it's unbelievable with a very beautiful smelling because linden tree has a special smelling, and up here it's like a perfume. So let's go and check as well the view here. So this is the snowman here, and look at the view. What you can see in front of you, that's part of the old city of Zurich. Really old buildings, now fantastic with all the snow. And in front of you, two big buildings, very important. Probably you can see there is a white dome, a white cupola, a little bit on our left-hand side. And this is the very famous international known Federal Institute of Technology. That's a very long name. We shorten it. We call it ETH. That's a very important university where people like Einstein study. Just imagine that. And this is the reason why Google brought the headquarters to Zurich, because they want the linking with the clever students up here. And then you see a green spire in front of us. That's an important church called Preacher Church. But behind is another long building, and that's the University of Zurich. It's also quite a known university. So you can study everything here in Zurich, and we have a lot of students.
But I just wanted to remind you, for those who are fans of crash landing on you, not sure if this view is very familiar. This is where Yoon Seri and Captain Lee actually were meeting on the credits when they start rolling during the start of the series. You see them walking with the high heels and all that. And you see this view from the Lindenhof. So if you are planning to visit Zurich and you want to do a photo shoot, or maybe a prenup photo shoot, and you want to have that same exact shot as Yoon City and Captain Reed, then you can definitely come here at Lindenhof, right?
That's it, yeah, definitely. And from here, for being honest, I'm a little sad for you, but from here, you see normally the Alps. So you have a panoramic view from here. Lovely. Now you have to imagine, because you can't see the Alps, but behind that huge church with the two towers, this is where normally you have the panoramic of the Alps. And the big church with two towers is called Großmünster. Groß means big, means great. And it's our main church, was the seat of the Reformation, so it is really an important church, but we will see it probably later on our tour. Now we're going to leave the Lincoln Hall and I show you the beautiful, beautiful hotel called Thornton. And this is a place where we're going to do the next stop. Okay? So follow me. And we here in Zurich, we always want to have the nicest, the best, the biggest, the greatest. So in front of you, I proudly introduce you to the biggest clock face, not in the world, but at least in Europe. And it's the clock face that belongs to the church called St. Peter. If I have to translate that, it means Saint Peter. And it's important to know this church is a very, very important church for our big event in April. In April, there is a guild event. I'm going to talk about the guild when we are at our next stop. So let's go to Storken right now. And be aware, it can be slippery. And this is also a place where sometimes you will have kids on sledges. So, be interested in history, and I hope you are interested in history because I'm a historian. So please do me that favor. Have a look at that old gravestone. It is one of the oldest remains and it's from Roman times. So just imagine 2,000 years ago. We have people living here. I have to be honest. It wasn't really a big spot at that time. But don't tell anybody. We always share that small little secret with all our guests. We have been a very little spot where only 300 or 350 people live. So this is from that time. But now, as I told you, the biggest city in Switzerland. Now, big question. Do you know for what people use that thing here? Probably you don't have any idea. But I'll show it to you. It's for cleaning your boots before you enter an apartment. Nowadays we don't use it anymore, but if you have a look at the old houses, you're gonna find beautiful ones, mostly decorated like that one, in front of the main entrance. And have you seen shops all over, small little ones? You can find everything you want. And behind me, behind the houses, is a very, very famous street called Bahnhofstrasse. It's also a must if you want to do shopping. Bahnhofstrasse is 1.6 kilometers long, and you can find everything you want. People call it the luxury mile, but it has to do with the prices for the square meters. So, yeah, Zurich is, if you compare it with other countries, with other cities, not very cheap to find ground and floor, and real estate are quite expensive, but they are beautiful for being honest. So, look at that beautiful lane. You're gonna find lanes like that one all over the old city. And if you check the naming, Vacant Gasse. Gasse is a small lane. Vacant is a bread. Why a bread lane? Because that house on my right hand side used to be the guild house of the bakers. And guilds, as I told you, are important for us. They have been confederations of craftsmen with same or similar profession. So the guild of the carpenters, the guild of the butchers, and the guild of the bakers. And Storken, that is on our right hand side, you will see, we're going to go a little bit closer, that is the guild house of the shipperman and the fisherman. And then people ask me, is that still in existence? Yes, it is. But it's more like a Rotary Club or a Lions Club. It's a lot about social networking. And a huge event in April. So do me a favor. If you come to Zurich, come as well once in April because then you can be member of that huge event. It's really a nice, huge party, 3 days, and with guildmen, with a lot of beautiful costumes, parades, and everybody is in the city. So, I present you once again the river Limmat, and in front of us now the big church called Grossmünster, and the Hotel Storch. Um, This used to be, or is still a guild house. As I told you, shippermen and fishermen, they meet here. And at the very top, there is the very famous rooftop bar called Nest. And a lot of people ask, why is it called Storchen, Storch? The story goes like this. It's not really sure if it's true or not, but in the 14th century, there was probably a pair of black storks, and they were always nesting on that house. This is why they called it the house to the storks. And for being honest, imagine this legend is from the 14th century. So 650 years ago, this house was already in existing. But of course, they were renovating it few times, and as you can see, they do it again. Lovely hotel, and you see the white and blue pillars. So this is a stop for that boat I told you that you could use in summertime. It's the Limmat cruising, and we call the boat the Limmat ship. So it is part of our public transport, and you can hop on the boat wherever you want, and it makes a round trip. So within an hour, you can explore the view and the city with a special point of view because the boat is very flat. So that means you're sitting very low and then you look towards the houses. So you have a different perspective and it's just gorgeous. Try it. I'm sure you're gonna love it. So now, dear guests, we're gonna cross the river. We will go to the other side. People call it Niederpörfli. Nieder is a little bit further down, and Pörfli is a small town. And as I told you, we have been a very little town. So now we're gonna go to the Niederpörfli, and then you see the churches, and I mention or I show you as well the Münsterbrücke. And the Münsterbrücke, I'm sure you know that one. Okay, let's go. Um, I forgot to mention that in front of us, on the right hand side, the beautiful building with the decorations on the windows is our city hall. And twice a week they are holding sessions here inside, and you can even go there because the sessions are public. So sometimes it's really interesting to listen to all those discussions. But not today. We go further. So remember that we are crossing the river. Now we go to the Niederdörfli. And a lot of people here say this is where you spend your money during nighttime. You earn it where we just have been on the other side because there is a lot of offices, a lot of banks where people work during daytime. And then the leisure is more a little bit where we go right now. So you earn the money on the side where we have been, and we go to the side where we spend the money. A lot of people say as well, on that side where we have been is the money because of all the banks. And where we are going to is the side where the spirit is, because up there, you remember, we have the important universities. It's a saying, but in a way, it's also a little bit true. Ah, this is one of my favorite flower shop. This is in a way the main lane on that side of the river. So, if we continue straight on, we reach the lake of Zurich. If we go towards that direction, we reach the central station. So it's very easy. You can just walk up or walk down. You will always reach or the lake or the central station. And this is the Niederdörfli. Remember that. So, if we have spectators being interested in culture, then you are on the right spot here in front. As you can see, the Cabaret Voltaire. This is the birthplace of the very small art that was called Dada. So a movement that was invented during the First World War, and it was in a way invented here in Zurich during the First World War, but also during the second one. We had a lot of emigrants coming to Zurich because Zurich, Switzerland, was an oasis because we weren't involved into the wars. So I show you another thing that makes it a little bit more clear. Let's go to an important building a little bit up the lane here. Nice little lane, isn't it? But normally you have a lot of people standing here where we are standing as well. Mostly of those groups are Russian groups. You ask why? Look up here. You see, this is the house where the revolutionary Lenin lived. But I'm picking out that house just for giving you an idea how many emigrants came to Zurich. So he was just one of a lot of immigrants coming to Zurich. You might be more interested in music. So imagine Richard Wagner, the very known musician. He came also to Zurich. And for example, also Semper. He might be not known in the Philippines, but he was a very, very important German architect. So Zurich have always been a spot where emigrants came to. And by the way, look at that beautiful surroundings. Now you are again in the old city. And might be that you can see the tower in front of us, at least the spire. And this is something very special. Now imagine if you have been rich, important during medieval times. You built yourself not a normal house, but a tower. Like that, you could overlook your neighbors. You could show them, I'm important. I'm holding money. I'm holding political power. So this is a status symbol. It's probably like driving a huge car nowadays. People should really see that you have been important. So this is not, it has nothing to do with a fortification. It is really a status symbol, like a beautiful building, a villa along the lake nowadays. And by the way, if you explore the inner old city, you're going to find more of those towers. Now we're going to go further and we're going to see the churches and the Münsterbrücke. So follow me again and enjoy the Niederdörfli. Are you thirsty? Okay, take a cup and just take some water. Every fountain here in Zurich, you can just help yourself and drink from the fountains. The water from the fountains is really nice. It's one of the best water and you can save some money. You don't have to pay for it. And normally in summertime, the people here carry small bottles with them and then they just fill it up. And it is said that this is the best water that you can drink. And do me a favor, take it from the tap here. Because that one is a little bit more for the dogs and not for us. So the dogs can even help themselves if they are thirsty as well. And now it's winter. I don't want to drink cold water. But you will see on the left hand side, This is my favorite cafe. It's a very, very nice building. It looks a little bit like, um, let's say, hmm, a little bit fancy, but it's really nice. It's called Cafe Schober, and it has a history of more than 200 years. Uh, Normally, you have beautiful, small, little biscuits here, and they're really, really famous for the hot chocolate. Homemade hot chocolate to drink, of course, not for eating, and a lot of cream on top. So it is really heavy, but at least once a lifetime, try it. It's a sin, but it's really worth doing it. Sometimes, if I'm guiding, I smell coffee. Now look at that. This here is an old roastery, so they even roast coffee here. And of course, if he is roasting coffee, he opens his window and it is smelling all over. It's not only famous for coffee, but also for tea. And the shop on the right hand side is a really nice shop for spices, dry fruit, and look how it looks inside. Really old fashioned, but very, very nice. So, we have drunken a hot chocolate. We have seen the spices. Now let's go to the churches. So you remember that building? We have seen it from the Lindenhof already. The huge church with the two towers, and that building is called Grossmünster. Now imagine I told you a lot of old buildings, but that church was built in between 1100 and 1220. So more than 900 years ago, they started to build that huge church when that was a very small little spot. You can imagine it was important at that time, and it is a Reformed church now. When it was built, it was a Catholic church, but we had the Reformation here 500 years ago, so the churches became mostly Reformed churches. So inside, there is nearly nothing. It's very plain and empty, but in all the churches, you can find beautiful stained glass windows. And that church, you can even climb one tower. Really nice to have a great view at the old town. And it is also very famous for its crypt downstairs. Let's go. Remember that if you come to Zurich, if you want to visit a church, we have opening hours. That's not normal, but the churches here are open from 10 in the morning till 5 or 6 in the evening. I'm not going to talk inside. You just have a look and you will see it's quite pure, simple, and have a look at the beautiful stained glass windows. I hope you liked that small experience of a church. Now let's go further to Münsterbrücke. You remember that name? Have again a look at the beautiful old city. You remember the church with the big clock face I showed you a few minutes ago? And then the bridge where we have been with the Hotel Storchen, and where you have the trees at the horizon, that is Lindenhof. And in front of us, the bridge, Münster Bridge, Münsterbrücke. Let's go. Come closer, come closer. Now again, the river and the next bridge. There, you're gonna find the Lake of Zurich. On our right hand side, that beautiful wooden building that is in a way like floating on the river. That's the most famous swimming pool in town. It's called Frauenbadi. Oh, you don't understand that? It means the place where women can take a bath. And it's not a joke. Only women are allowed to enter that place. But gentlemen, don't be sad. We have as well a place that is called Männerbad. And Männerbad, it's a swimming pool for men only. And we are not pure. We are not, yeah, let's say, in a way, sometimes we have been pure because ages ago, centuries ago, only women and men had to take a bath separated. But now it's tradition. We just want to keep it like this. And by the way, it becomes a very nice spot where you can take a beer or a wine or whatever you feel like during nighttime. All the spots are transformed to bars and restaurants. And the Frauenbad becomes the bar Fußbar. So a bar where you have to kick off your shoes before entering the place. You have to check it out. It's a lovely place. And you remember the bridge? Now, let's go a little bit further and look at that. Is it familiar to you? So, we are nearly at the end of the tour, and I hope you enjoyed the walking together with me through the old city. And I show you for the last stop a beautiful, beautiful square called Münsterhof. The church in my back is, by the way, the Frau Münster, and it's very known for the beautiful stained glass windows done by Marc Chagall. A lovely square again. And in summertime, imagine there's a lot of people sitting here enjoying it. And again, it is in a way what you have seen till now that you can here see again. Guildhouse, the blue building on my right hand side. Huge fountain where we have more than 1,200 fountains here in Zurich. Shopping spots and the church behind you. So you can find whatever you want. And I hope you come to Zurich to explore it. I thank you so much for the attention and hopefully see you soon.
All right. So thank you so much, Baba, for the wonderful, wonderful tour. I know it's very snowy. I know it's very cold. We're all wet while recording the whole thing. But thank you so much for going through the whole thing with us. But before that, because a lot of people are already planning their trip to Zurich in the future, they might want to also do the same tour that we did with you again, maybe in the future. So a while ago, she mentioned Munsterbrücke, which is one of the shooting locations for Crash Landing on You. So definitely you shouldn't miss that out. But of course, we're not going to enjoy our trip without knowing more about restaurants, about cafes, about places that we can eat at, the best food in Zurich. So what would be your most suggested restaurants for us to try on when we're on Zurich?
Okay, let's say like this. If you really want to have nice, original food from Zurich, that means as well meat and rösti. I would say this is not the baddest spot to come to because, as you can see behind us, it's not only a guild house, it's also mentioned restaurant on the wall. And this is really a lovely, lovely restaurant to have original, good Swiss food. And of course, there are places where you can eat cheese fondue. And I already mentioned that beautiful cafe. And just round the corner here, you can find the very, very nice cafe Sprüngli. You might know that Lind and Sprüngli, the chocolate. So the Sprüngli is just round the corner here, and it's a must. We always say it's a must. And then, of course, if you say, what about vegetarian food? Try out the Hiltel. Hiltel is supposed to be, if we can believe Guinness, the oldest vegetarian restaurant in the world. Just ask the locals because they will help you. Normally, they are very, very friendly and just ask for the most famous vegetarian restaurant, and then they will know you're talking about Hilton because the name is a little bit complicated. But Google will help you as well. Okay?
Definitely. I think she mentioned everything that you need to try out here in Zurich, especially Sprungli, one of my favorite cafes, also for chocolate. So at a weather like this, if you're coming to Zurich in the winter in the future, then you can stop the tour here and then go straight to Sprungli and enjoy a nice cup of coffee or chocolate or have some chocolate cake. Maybe buy some souvenirs of chocolate to bring back home and definitely you can enjoy it. All right, so last question. When is the best time do you think that we should visit Zurich?
Oh, I would say every day is the best day. As you can see, it's even nice in winter time. But of course, it's also nice in summertime. Hopefully, see you again. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you so much, Barbara. Thank you so much, Barbara. Thank you so much to Zurich Tourism, to Switzerland Tourism for hosting us today. We look forward to having more of these virtual tours in the future. So watch out